and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. Today is going to be my most recent weekly wrap up. So I have been vlogging. I was doing a self-destruct vlog, as I said I was going to do, and both my last vlog and my self-destruct mid-year catch-up. However, I didn't turn the microphone on for a single vlog clip, like none. So when I sat down to actually edit the vlog, all the footage was unusable. So we're just getting a wrap up. It is what it is. It's fine. We're moving on. Also, wee story time, just for anybody who is wondering what it's like to have Simon as a husband. So I came downstairs this morning, right? I had my hair in like a wee bun because I had just woke up and I had this outfit on, and I went downstairs and like it struck me that like my wee cardigan that could have came off as like a wee bit granny-ish. So I says to him, do I look like a granny? Fully expecting him to be like, no, like you're youthful as fuck, absolutely stunning, could pass as a 21-year-old. But what Simon said was, well, aye, you do look like a granny, but you always dress like a granny. That's your style. Now, he could have left it there and we could have moved on with our lives, but he didn't. He continued, and he then says, I mean, at the minute, I'd say you were a slightly younger looking version of the granny for the Fox and the Hound. Picture for reference. Great, thank you. So because it's been self-destruct books that I've been reading, I've not exactly had the best reading week. So it's going to be DNF City. The first book that I DNF'd was The Island Child by Molly Aitken. So this is about our main character Una, and it goes backwards and forwards in her life, and we get some chapters from her being a wee girl on this island, and then we get chapters of Una as an adult dealing with the fact that she's a mother and all the trials and tribulations that comes with that, and how she's feeling like really drawn to this island that she tried so hard to escape from when she was younger. I believe it might get a wee bit like magical realism, speculative fiction-y, but I didn't get that far into it to confirm nor deny. This was in like a sci-fi and fantasy book box that I received, so I am assuming it would have one of the elements and it wouldn't just be a straight up literary fiction, but this just was no for me. The writing is just so flowery and descriptive, and I didn't vibe well with that. I'm quite a basic kind of reader. Like, I just want you to tell me a good story. Like, I don't need you to feel like it's Joey for Friends who's like written this book using a thesaurus and every single word needs to be pure fancy and like every tiny wee thing needs to be described in about 8 sentences. It's just no for me. I know that some people really love that and like good for them, but I'm not one of the people. And then I feel like this was just going to be quite stereotypically feminist, and I hate a book that just makes the same point that loads of other books or loads of other authors that have made, and like they didn't really push anything any further and they aren't really saying anything like new or like coming up with any solutions or anything like that. I really didn't like that element of it. I mean, the opening of this, like, it's our main character Una as a wee girl is talking about how like the men go out to sea and they like put their lives at risk by going out in all weathers, whereas the women are at home and the women are putting their lives at risk also because they're like having kids in the house and stuff, and you know, obviously dying through childbirth and that, and like it's a fair point, like I get it, but that's not the situation we're in now, and like it's not very interesting. So I didn't like that, and I just felt like it was going to be very like strict gender roles on this island, and like I I don't know, it just wasn't giving me the vibes that I was wanting. I just felt like it was going to be very generically feminist, and I don't really enjoy that. Like, I want, when I'm reading something and it's feminist, after I've read it, to be like kicking down my front door and going out to like start a fucking riot. Like, that's the reaction I want when a book is describing itself as feminist. I want to be like bawling my eyes out. Like, that's the reaction I want. Whereas this was just giving me like, ugh. You know, I didn't really want to be reading something that's meant to be quite political and feel indifferent about it. I don't think that you should ever be indifferent about politics. So this just wasn't for me. Truthfully, I didn't even get that far into it. I think I read up to, well, it's no on chapters, it's like titles, but I got up to about page 47 and then I DNF'd this. Didn't enjoy it. However, I did get this in a Chronicle book box, and it is a hand-signed edition by the author. So if anybody has read this book and enjoyed it, let me know. I will send it to you so you've got a nice signed copy. Or if you haven't read it but you just think that it might sound more your cup of tea than mine, happy to send it to someone. Otherwise it'll just go to a charity shop, but there's no point in me keeping this on my shelves. I am never going to go back to it, and it was pretty poor. Then, because I was filming as part of a vlog, I wanted to try and read 2 self-destruct books in the vlog. So I read The Corset, which I have a single book review up of now. I'll link that down below. I DNF'd The Island Child, so I subbed it in with Practical Demon Keeping by Christopher Moore, because this was another one that was on the list. But unfortunately, I ended up DNFing this one as well, which I'm quite disappointed about, because I think this book could have been really great, and definitely a book and characters that I could have really enjoyed. This is about, like, your main character Travis, and he has a demon, and like, it's about the trials and tribulations of him trying to keep this demon in line, and they're on like a bit of a road trip across America, and they land in this wee town where like havoc ensues because the natural order and everything starts getting disturbed because they are like on their way. I just felt like there was so much going on in this book, right, that if it just focused on Travis and the catch, who's the demon, that it would have been a far better story. Like if we were just following them the entire time. But we don't. We follow so many other different characters in this that it was just getting a bit annoying. Like, the original characters that we meet at the opening of the book, one of them dies, and so then we follow like his roommate for a bit, and then we find out like this whole backstory about the guy who's died at the very beginning of the book, who by the way is a bit irrelevant to me, and like there's this whole like drugs and detective plot going on, which is boring. I don't like anything really placed procedurally, so I had no interest in that storyline. And then we meet like an entire town's worth of people, and I get like if the demon and Travis are coming to this town that it makes sense for us to know some of the townspeople. I absolutely get that, and I didn't mind some of the townspeople, but like, do we really need chapters on all these town people's perspectives and to know like quite so much backstory about all these people's lives? I'm unsure that we did, truthfully. So this ended up in a DNF for me as well. Again, I got about 47 pages in, 47 pages in, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. I really enjoyed the time that we spent with Travis and the demon. I thought that they had quite a funny relationship, and you could see that Travis was very done with having to deal with a demon constantly and keep him in line and make sure that they weren't getting caught, and that was very, very funny, and I think I would have really enjoyed that if there was a lot more of that in here. This is the first in a series, so potentially if you continue it, like, you do get a bit more of that, but I just couldn't force myself to read through like chapters about wee old men, random wee old men in this random wee town, when I'm here for like the funny demon, you know. So this ended up being a DNF for me as well. This is Christopher Moore's first book, I believe. I did some quite extensive review reading on Goodreads because loads of people were saying like, aye, this is absolute trash, but if you continue the series, he's like a genius. But I just can't bring myself to do that. Like, I'm not going to slog through this book so that I can continue a series and hope it gets better. Like, I fucking hate that, and I appreciate like if this is his debut and it was maybe one of the first novels published, but I'm still not going to enjoy it, so I'm not going to continue the series. However, if there was other standalone Christopher Moores and the premise sounded quite good and they were his later works, I potentially would pick them up, because loads of people were saying like they didn't know what happened with his writing, like compared to this, to some of her, like his later novels. It's like night and day. So I maybe would try them, but unfortunately this wasn't for me, so this was another DNF. And then I was reading another book at the same time, but it was like the sequel in a series that I'm reading, and I just felt myself getting slumpy, and I didn't want to continue to read that book while I was feeling slumpy, because I feel like it would hinder the book, and I'm actually really thoroughly enjoying it. So I just needed something that was going to like give me pure serotonin, like cheer me up 1000%. So I read the next book in the Bake Shop Mystery series by Ellie Alexander, and this is Live and Let Pie. This was amazing. It was everything that I need. Like, it pulled me right out of my slump and just gave me all the happiness I could ever need in my whole life. So in this book, Jules finally reopens Tort after all the renovations and everything have taken place, and you know, we've got like the upstairs and the downstairs situation happening with burning ovens, ice cream machines, bigger baking space. It's excellent, and I was totally buzzing for just their wee renovation project to be finished. We also see Jules taking on some more staff in here, because there's obviously been an expansion and they're going to be a wee bit busier, so you just need some more hands on deck. I was actually a wee bit nervous about that, because we've had like the same cast of characters in the bake shop pretty much since book one. We do have one addition as the series goes on, but I don't feel like she really changed the dynamic in any way. And I was like, oh, like what if we get somebody here who's just going to like totally shake things up, and like it's just not going to be the same or whatever. But thankfully that wasn't the case. All the characters who were introduced in this book were absolutely lovely and fantastic wee additions to the team, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. The mystery element of this book as well was really interesting. So we have quite a side character in the book who actually gets murdered, and like there's a big plot, like a plot of land, no a plot point. His land has been up for sale, he's been selling his plot, and there's quite a few different people who are bidding on his plot and who are wanting to do some different projects on that plot. And so that is like the main focus of the story, is that it's somebody who really wanted this plot and they've murdered him to try and ensure that they get the land. But that actually turns out to be a whole misdirection, and it's actually this other older cold case that could be potentially being solved by this character's murder. So that was fantastic, and I just again need to commend Ellie Alexander for making such a lovely, light, uplifting book with a great cast of characters, but really handling some tricky and difficult subjects. In this book we really deal with a bit of a housing crisis. So Ashland is it's quite a small town, and they have a lot of tourists that come in and out, so there's a lot of B&Bs and inns and hotels and stuff like that, but they're actually struggling to get like main housing and affordable housing, because it is quite a touristy area, so the prices are quite high, reasonably high. And you know, they account on people coming to work there in terms of their hospitality sector. They have OSF, which is their big Shakespeare festival, and so they, you know, rely on backstage hands and people who will come and work at the theatre, and if these people can't come and have affordable housing, then that entire bit of their economy is just going to fall. That's one of the issues that it deals in here, and one of the reasons why there's a character called Martin who's really vying for the plot so that he can build essentially apartment blocks that he will rent out at really reasonable prices for anybody who is working like in the theatre company, so that they can make sure that that keeps running and it's contributing to the economy. Then it also really deals with homelessness and poverty in here as well, because Ashland has quite a big homeless population and there's never really anything been done for them. And we have another character in here, Gretchen. She runs like the homeless foundation, and she really wants the land as well, because she wants to create essentially like a wee mini town. She wants to create small luxury houses for them, so you know, she can build quite a lot of them and it's not going to take up too much space, but it's got everything in it that they would need, and they would be very, very affordable. She also wants to create a wee doctors there so that they can get access to healthcare, everything that they need there. She wants to create like a market, but where everything would be free, so it would still run off of donations, but so that the adults and the kids have the experience of coming in and it just being set up like a shop so that they can pick whatever they want. You know, she wants it to be clothes so that if people have interviews or whatever, that they can come in and they can get access to clothing, so that they can go well presented, so that the kids can come in and have access to some toys and they can feel like they've got some possessions of their own. And this book really talks about the impact of poverty, specifically on kids, and how kids view themselves and how they grow up viewing money and themselves based on how they grew up and how big an impact poverty has on them. And I just thought that was excellent. And you know, Ellie Alexander, I don't know whether this is something that she has researched and like, or whether this is an original idea, but I just thought like the wee community for the homeless people was an absolutely phenomenal idea, because not only are you giving them what they need to get themselves back onto their feet, but you're also giving them and their families like a bit of a sense of normality. And just from a mental health perspective, that would be absolutely huge, that they wouldn't be feeling like they were getting charity, like, because it's just going to be set up like a normal shop and they can just go in and they can do like whatever they need to do and make sure that they've got food and stuff for their kids. And I just thought that that was such an amazing idea and such a great initiative that I don't really understand why it's Ellie Alexander, a cosy mystery author, who has came up with this and not like a politician who should actually be coming up with these ideas and try to implement them. But I just thought that it was done excellently, and this book was exactly everything that I needed. And although it does deal with some hard topics like most of Ellie Alexander's novels, overall the feeling you come away with is still really positive, still really light, and I just absolutely loved it. It was a 5-star read for me. Know that a single person is surprised, because there's never been a book in this series that I have rated a 5-star so far, but I only have one of these on my shelf now that I haven't read yet. So I'll need to take a break, I think. Because I think if I buy more e-books and we need to move everything along again, like I might actually get divorced. So I'm taking a wee break. That has been everything that I have been reading this week, or rather no reading, to be honest, because it's been a bit crap. But Ellie Alexander saved the day yet again, pulled it through. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!